Going from your left to right is Dr. Dina George, Chief Innovation Officer at the University of St. Thomas. Brenda Rios Brombacher, who's Director of Entrepreneurial Initiatives and Community Relations, HCC. Southeast, she and I share an office together. Sandra Uda, who's Brenda's counterpart, is Director of the Center for Entrepreneurship, HCC Northwest. Charlie Becker, who's Sure Program Assistant Director, C.T. Bauer College of Business at the University of Houston. And Kelly McCormick, who's Professor of Practice and Managing Director of Red Labs at the University of Houston. And with that, what we'll do is we'll go down the line and allow each of the panelists to introduce themselves in about a brief 2 to 3 minute introduction. After that, we'll start it off, sort of climb the pump with a kickoff question. If at any time after the introductions you have a question or anything, please feel free to raise your hand. We'll keep this fairly informal. And at the end, after we prime the pump, or when I start seeing hands come up, we'll turn it over to the audience for questions. Okay, with that, Dina.
Thank you. I don't think I can top that. Is it on? It is, right?
Go ahead.
Yes. Well, good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. I don't think I can top that, the space flight, all of that. But glad to be here and glad to receive the comments from Grace about what this is to be, and it really got me thinking. So I have been at the University of St. Thomas for 16 years. I've taught business and entrepreneurship in Houston for 20 plus years. So that first question about how Houston's entrepreneurial ecosystem has evolved really got me thinking. And I think one of the big changes to me was when we were teaching, let's say 15 years back, the focus was on what was happening in the classroom, not so much a thought about the ecosystem. Today, when you start thinking about teaching anything, your thought is the classroom is just one piece of it. And I think that is the biggest change that I've seen. And so when you look at the University of St. Thomas and the programs that we have there, we have an undergraduate minor in entrepreneurship, a graduate concentration in entrepreneurship, a graduate certificate in entrepreneurship, and a certificate in social entrepreneurship. And that's what happens mostly in the classroom. But beyond that, just like I think all of you all do, we have programs, conferences that alert students to opportunities, for the future. So related to the Sustainable Development Goals, for instance, things like that. We have mentoring sessions where we bring individuals from the community to talk to our students. We have pitch competitions and funding for that to our donors. So with all of that, we try to give opportunities to our students to extend what they are learning in the classroom to actual practice. And this experiential learning is very important for our students. We have the social entrepreneurship program. Our primary activity is right now in Mexico, so we are looking at expanding that to other locations. We are building connections with incubator accelerators here in the Houston area because that is also important. I think in terms of trends and opportunities, what we are seeing, there is definitely an expectation if a student is interested in a startup that they are reaching out to these kinds of opportunities and networking, like attending SBA events, for instance, things like that. And what I'm most excited about is seeing that there is a huge amount of opportunity in Houston, and it's almost growing every day, which is good. But it's growing in a coordinated fashion because of the work of individuals like you. We have that information network and coordinated action, which I think makes Houston a friendly city for startups. So,
Brenda, please.
Thank you. This is on. Maybe let's try that one. Just bring it down. Thank you. Hi everyone. I am Brenda Rios from Walker. My experience is a little bit unconventional. I actually started in government back in 2010 and worked at the State Department when President Obama was trying to do the Global Entrepreneurship Program. So back then that was an idea, and entrepreneurship was not really the buzz anywhere in the world, really. It was just sort of growing. And so it's amazing to see how cities like Houston has evolved, just with the ecosystem and again with Impact Hub and Station and a lot of accelerators and universities making it happen. But so I started with the entrepreneurial policy making, trying to bring in American investors, delegations into Muslim majority communities. And so we enter places like Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, where it was back in 2010 when the protests were starting. And so it was really to give the opportunities for a lot of the talent that was in the countries, give them that entrepreneurial mindset to not look for opportunities, but to create those opportunities in the country. And I think that's where I'm seeing Houston evolving. There's been, we're a global city, we're like the fourth largest city in the nation, but we're a global magnet. We have the huge medical center that's known globally, petroleum, oil, and gas, that's global as well. I really foresee as trends that the entrepreneurial ecosystem will also be global, starting small, be global though. So I'm quite excited to see that, and I'm quite excited to be part of Houston Community College, kind of going that route. My area, which is the southeast region, is really with the Port of Houston, a lot of the Hispanic population, and so a little bit of our niche is really supporting Hispanic entrepreneurs, creating things in Spanish in their language, so that it's not that they don't understand English, but it's really just to get down into the details of their first language. So we're going into next year promoting a certificate, a business management certificate, all in Spanish, not just for the education side, but for the practical side. We're also doing a lot of the exposure access to students. So like tomorrow, for example, we have the Steam for Your Dream. Besides Global Entrepreneurship Week being this week, we also have the Binational Education Week happening this week. And so the Consulate General of Mexico came to us and asked if we can celebrate our innovators, especially from Mexico, and she's working at NASA, Dr. Dorothy Ruiz, to give exposure and access as to what were the challenges of her growing up in the STEM field, and then giving that back to our community here with middle school students. So it's quite exciting. We have 120 students coming, and the Consul General is also visiting at HCC for the first time. So we're really making a huge impact, and I'm looking forward to your questions.
Hello everyone, my name is Sandra Uda, and I'm with the Center for Entrepreneurship at HCC Northwest. And I'm so proud to be a part of HCC and a part of the Houston entrepreneurial ecosystem. I'm a native Houstonian. I left and went out to California for about 10 years, but other than that, I've worked my whole career here. And but it was great to go out and have jobs where I travel all over the country. And work surrounding states here, surrounding states out in California. And then one job that I had working for a franchisor was to work all over the country in markets all over. So when I was called into HCC, it was back in 2009 for a summer, part-time, to be dedicated to entrepreneurship. And then we got a grant, and we launched our Center for Entrepreneurship, and we've been doing a business plan competition 2 years prior to that. And so the goal of the Center for Entrepreneurship was to educate entrepreneurs from the external community, as well as within HCC, to better weather the rigors of a business plan competition where they got mentoring and advising and training within the competition throughout the spring. And then to support them further afterwards. So we reached out and started connecting with the Houston entrepreneurial ecosystem right away, and things just took off. And since then, we've started the Southeast Center for Entrepreneurship, the Southwest Center for Entrepreneurship. We've gotten the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses Program, the Minority Business Development Agency Business Center, and things have just taken off, and it's been amazing. So I love cross-collaborating with our other centers for entrepreneurship, as well as the Houston entrepreneurial ecosystem. Again, I said our market is people out in the external community. We called them forth because we knew they were coming specifically to pursue entrepreneurship while we were developing entrepreneurial certificate programs. And we started with workshops and seminars, and we've since went forward with some college credit certificate programs and a degree But we also have a new Small Business Success Series by HCC, which educates entrepreneurs from the external community. So we have lots of entrants into our business plan competition, and we're excited about that. In fact, we cross-collaborate with others that are speaking tonight, with the U of H SURE program, with the Houston Area Urban League Small Business University program, with the Liftoff Houston competition, because we know that smart entrepreneurs are going to hook into the entrepreneurial ecosystem, and they're going to go from one thing to the next to continue to accelerate and grow and evolve the plan for their business, not just prior to launch, but in that early startup year, and then when they want to grow further after that. And so we're proud to be a part of a system that grows them from home-based, from proposed to home-based, to micropreneur, to larger.
Good afternoon. My name is Charlie Becker. I'm the Assistant Director of the SURE program. Those of y'all who know me know I'm setting a timer for myself up here. So I'm about to make this a little bit interactive. So if you or somebody you know has ever seen a doctor or dentist at a university hospital or clinic, could you raise your hand? Like in the UT system or MD Anderson or the Baylor College of Medicine, right? And so for those of you who don't raise your hand, you're familiar that there are hospitals run by the universities, correct? So the way I like to describe the SURE program, which we run, is that medical schools figured out a long time ago that in order to train the next generation of doctors, they're going to have these student doctors perform services for the community at a lower rate under the supervision of other professionals. And so what we've done is we've basically taken that model and applied it to business school. So what we do is under the supervision of professionals, students at University of Houston in the SURE program will guide entrepreneurs from the community through the process of writing a business plan and pitching for funding. And we've been doing this since about 2012. I personally have been working there since 2016, right? And in that time, we've educated over 1,400 people and launched close to 300 businesses. I think a few of our esteemed entrepreneur graduates are in the audience right now. Yeah. And a soon-to-be graduate, I think, pitch them tomorrow. Or pitch them on Saturday, right? And so the way it works is each student gets 4 to 5 clients, and every week we have a different guest speaker come in and lecture on their area of expertise, and the guest speaker assigns a homework assignment, that a homework accumulates into the drafting of the business plan. And so U of H is #1 in the country in entrepreneurship. However, we are in parallel to Wolf. Like we work a lot with Wolf, but what they do is they train students to be entrepreneurs. What we do is we train people from the community to be entrepreneurs by giving them the skills, knowledge, and network to start or grow a business. And on the way, okay, I still have a minute. On the way, what we do is we train students to be the best professionals of tomorrow. And what we like to do is we call it automation-proofing their education, right? Because we all know the robots are coming, algorithms are coming to take all our jobs, correct? However, if you teach a student their technical skills, alongside that you should also teach them to collaborate, be a leader, storytell, and develop empathy. And those are all the things that they do while they're sharpening their technical skills working with entrepreneurs. So we get all kinds of entrepreneurs in every type of industry. If you're curious about the different types of businesses we have, maybe ask one of the 3 people who just raised their hand. They're fantastic, totally unrelated surveys they play on the businesses. But our kind of target entrepreneur is someone who wants to start or grow a small business that produce $2,000 to $25,000 of revenue a month. So we've got some pretty broad. There are a lot of really excellent programs in Houston for scaling businesses to a larger thing. We don't really do that. We try to get people who want to support themselves, support their families, and then feed them off into the other wonderful programs that Houston has to offer. And I'm 10 seconds over, so I'm going to pass it to my esteemed colleague here.
Hi, I'm Kelly McCormick. I work with the University of Houston. My main role at the University of Houston is the director of Red Labs. It's our startup accelerator, so we work with students, faculty, and recent alumni to help them launch tech startups. And we actually run a 12-week program over the summer where we're in collaboration with Rice University, and we provide curriculum for startups, startup curated curriculum. We provide mentorship for our teams, and we also provide additional resources and access to the community, provide 24/7 access to co-working space. And so that's our main program that we try and get people into for teams that are moving forward. With that said, we only can accept 10 teams, and with Rice they accept 10 as well, so max 20 teams through that program that come out at the end of the summer and have a demo day, so where they pitch the idea in front of the whole community. But throughout the rest of the year, I also, basically what I do is try and get people involved in that program to get more interest in entrepreneurship and people excited about entrepreneurship so that they might consider starting a business and then moving forward into Red Labs if their business meets the kind of, or the criteria for Red Labs, tech startups. I do teach intro to tech entrepreneurship, and actually through my work at Red Labs and intro to tech entrepreneurship, there was a certain point, I think it was around class 4, we're in class 8 right now, where I realized that I was constantly surrounded by a lot of men who were great. But at that point, I started teaching women in entrepreneurship. So I teach that class as well, and that includes a lot of small business curriculum. And I also teach design practice and business for the College of Architecture and Industrial Design at the University of Houston. So I kind of teach a wide variety of entrepreneurship at different levels and different levels of interest. And we also have a bunch of programs and events to get students just interested and engaged in entrepreneurship. Oh, and I also run the I-Corps program, which is the National Science Foundation Innovation Corps program at the University of Houston, and essentially very similar to the work I do through Red Labs, which is to get more people involved in entrepreneurship, but it's also specifically focused on commercializing technology that faculty have in labs. So that's another part of what I do.
Oh, and they turn off those two microphones at the end, so we're only one words at a time, so we'll just have to turn on whichever one's after. So
Okay, one of the things we look at with Houston is we've sort of touched on, it's a very diverse city. There's a wide range of activities and businesses. And oftentimes when we talk about an entrepreneurial ecosystem, we tend to have one model in mind. So what I sort of wanted to do is specifically drill down, some of you touched on it, but what do you consider your primary entrepreneurial client base? What are the demographics? What kind of business or industry? Are you business or industry agnostic? So if you could talk a little bit about that.
So, when you look at our population, our student population, there is kind of a difference between undergraduate and graduate students. So, first talking about our graduate students, again, it's not particularly focused on industry, but there is a focus on the life sciences. We started a program in commercialization of life sciences, and so we have definitely an interest in serving that industry. At the undergraduate level, it's a broad range. I mean, there are definitely students who come up with digital apps, but then there are students who are looking at the service industry, who are looking at the restaurant industry. So it is a broad range at the undergraduate level. And then we have the social entrepreneurship program, and that is actually a university-driven program because it's a more formal program than the others, where students are coming to us with ideas and saying, okay, how do we take this out? Whereas the social entrepreneurship is an ongoing program at the university.
At this point, if anyone has any questions as we go along, please feel free and we'll flex. Brenda?
this is on. Can you hear me now? Okay, you can hear me now. Yeah, it's working now. All right, we're playing phone tag or microphone tag. According to demographics, in our programs, it really varies. I touched a little bit on it on my introduction, but we go way back into elementary school right now with our entrepreneurship club members doing Lemonade Days. So sort of an exposure to elementary school kids understanding the budgeting, the saving, and so on. But also the word entrepreneurship is not even known. That's the first question we asked. It's like, do you know what entrepreneurship is? It's like, oh, is that a ship? A Portuguese ship? So we're giving that sort of exposure to our kids. But then middle school students also having sort of the entrepreneurial mindset and the difference between innovation and entrepreneurship. So So like we said, tomorrow we have this big event. It's really more on innovation. But it's sort of like, no matter what your resources are, you can always dream. And so the message is really, no matter like how big your dream is, make it happen in little details. Take the math and the sciences that you have to take during middle school and high school to get to that level of having opportunities in the life sciences. And then our community of students, community college, where if they have an idea, how do we help them go from that idea into a registered business? In our community who are already startups, but it's challenging because some of them have started with no business background, and so giving them through workshops and conferences. So our demographics vary like in size. Like I said, when it comes to ethnicity, it's mostly Hispanic population. And within the Hispanic population, it's really broken down into people who are coming from Latin America countries or from abroad, to people that have been here by generations in this area. And so sort of addressing the different messages of how you can be an entrepreneur and an innovator, no matter your ethnicity, no matter your language, no matter your age. So we're having fun.
Sandra?
Sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask, could you elaborate on the Spanish workshops for the diverse entrepreneurs, the programs that you?
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, so in fact, before this event, we had another event in Spanish workshop where one of our recent professors, he just came from Colombia. He used to work at the Ministry of Education in Colombia, but with everything that's going on in the country, he didn't feel safe, so he had to come here. He was almost retired, so he decided to retire and come here for safety. So we have that kind of talent, where he's creating the curriculum back in another country, and he's here starting from scratch with nothing. And so we're working with that demographic. The Venezuelans, the Colombians are coming because they have to be safe, and they're coming with nothing, right? So starting from scratch, they're coming with their talent, but we're connecting that talent into opportunities that they can, create as a business here in Houston. And going back to your question, that's why we develop things in Spanish for that demographic, because right now it's a barrier. They're still learning English, but they have all this talent. They're engineers. They have masters in communications. In fact, I worked with a reporter that just came from Venezuela, came with nothing, and she's like, I don't know where to start, but I need money to survive, and I'll be okay if I clean houses. I'm like, no, I'm not okay with that. I will not let you do that because you have a master's in communications, and sure, it's in Spanish, but we're in a global city, and we can connect you. And I connected her to what is the Venezuelan magazine, EV Houston. So it's things like that. It's like where we can start making those connections. The other demographic, again, is the students who, their parents speak Spanish only, but they are bilingual. So that knowledge and talent from the students and exposure that they could give back to the family and create a family business. We have that demographic, so it's really a lot. I'm sorry for taking a lot of time, but it's just a lot of little barriers that we're starting to connect the dots.
Hey, Sandra.
Okay, my
Center for,
hello.
yes.
My Center for Entrepreneurship is, since it was the first one launched, we reached out, as I said, to the external community to call them forth to our Center for Entrepreneurship because we knew a lot of them would be more ready to go start a business. But we also, so we have workshops and seminars that are for multiple generations. In fact, sometimes we have parents with their children come to our seminars and our Small Business Success Series. And so we consider ourselves to be multi-generational. In fact, right now there are 5 generations in the workplace, which is unusual because the aging population is not retiring, they're continuing to work. And so we have cross-generational training as well. And so we do cross-collaborate with, and it's all about connecting to the Houston entrepreneurial ecosystem and resources. So we provide the training and the education, but we provide the connections as well. So we do collaborate with others, even in the room with the Small Business Administration. We do events together. We cross-collaborated with the U of H SURE program and the Houston Area Urban League Small Business University and Liftoff Houston competition. I'm a judge in it many years, and we do the training every year for their pitching in the Liftoff Houston competition. So when someone takes a run at our business plan competition in the spring, they need to do things to get ready for it. They can either take a class at HCC, college credit, or we have an online CE class. And they all take a financial workshop that we offer at several campuses around town. Or they could have graduated from U of H SURE program, or they could have graduated from the Liftoff Houston competition, or from the Houston Area Urban League Small Business University. So if they've done that, we consider that prerequisite enough to understand about a draft of a plan and a basic plan. And then if they apply for our competition, they move through free advising and training all spring as they refine and polish their plan. And so the point after that is to connect them with funders. We have lots of great collaborative partners who fund our competition, banks, some in-kind sponsors like the Canon. So we cross-collaborate with accelerators and co-working space entities. We cross-collaborate with veterans entities. It's been amazing because I think that a smart entrepreneur is going to go from one thing to the next as they continue to grow their business. And so we're all about that. So we love to tell stories that someone placed third in our competition, and then later they took a run and Liftoff Houston and they did even better. Or they went through SURE and they met all the milestones and the metrics and they pitched, but maybe they didn't do as well as they want. But look how it set them up to pursue their business. And so if they take a run at ours and they get in it, they get more training and mentoring, then it's a great story that we can both tell. Colleges that are based on our side of town, like the College of Engineering, the Center of Excellence in Engineering, the Center of Excellence in Media Arts and Technology, and the Center of Excellence in Fine Arts. And Brenda does the same out on her side of town, and Robbie does the same out on his side of town. So it's been amazing. We find that the students in the things that we offer at my Center for Entrepreneurship kind of have to hold on tight for the ride, because some of them are ready to start a business and some of them are still trying to figure out whether they want to or not. But we feel that if they learn how to think entrepreneurially, they can better grow the employer's business that they work for. And we think that's HEC sweet spot. You know, we're so proud that Rice is #1. And I'm really proud that U of H is #1 because I'm a cougar and I have two 20-year-old cougars there at U of H right now. And so HCC sweet spot is that we can provide an entrepreneurial mindset and a workforce that can help small businesses throughout the greater Houston area grow, and often that prepares them to start a business later. So that's it.
Demographic, right? Is that so let's just skip over the students. All right, got some very attractive people out here, but I don't know how many of them will be enrolling as an undergraduate at U of H anytime soon. So I want to talk about our demographics for entrepreneurs, right? We look at 4 things when people apply. We say, do they have a concrete idea for a business? Have they demonstrated a commitment to this idea? Are they from or will they serve an under-resourced community? And then, like, what's their target revenue, right? And if the target revenue is between like $2,000 and $25,000 a month, and the answer to the first 3 questions is yes, then they're probably a good fit for our program. And we're kind of suffering from success because 3 years ago when I started, I was like, okay, we'll fill the class with as many people who are yes to those questions as possible, and then we'll kind of like jumble it up for the remaining spots, right? And so we were filling like 70% of the class with perfect fits, you know, back when we had like 60 people in the class, and then the rest were like, okay, this guy kind of has a pretty concrete idea, right? Or I guess this person's kind of from an under-resourced community. But now, actually, what happens is we fill up the entire class with people who are perfect fits, and then we have a wait list of about 100 people who are still perfect fits. You know, we have to ask them to come back next semester, right? And so that's kind of what we do. we mostly look at the people, right? We're a people training program, we're an economic empowerment program, not a business factory. And so you may have noticed earlier when I said launched 300 businesses and educated over 1,400 people, there's like 1,100 people in there who didn't launch businesses, right? And it's because launching a business is really hard and expensive. And if you do the market research and find out that you can go get paid to do what you love by somebody else and not incur the debt and have to manage the overhead and manage other people and figure out what kind of phone service you're going to use and pay Google for the email accounts branded under your company every month, we advise people to do that, right? And so that's our demographic. We work on economically empowering people. When we say under-resourced, it's a term we borrow from Mayor Turner's Complete Communities Initiative. I felt the best way to get it across would be to kind of talk about our demographics historically. In 2016, we did a demographic study that we're updating right now, which is a little bit of funding from JP Morgan, a bank full of the smartest, most attractive bankers in the country. Shout out to JP Morgan Chase for all the money they gave us for this impact study. When we did that study, we found that 50% of our entrepreneurs are African American, over 70% were women, over a quarter were Hispanic or Latino. We had served 60 Houston area zip codes, and we were pretty evenly distributed at the time. Since then, we've had like an explosion of people from the third ward come in because we're partnering really closely with the third ward. And when we did that study, at the time, we saw that there was a big change between when people went through the program and like a year later, where like the people coming in were 63% under the housing, urban development, low income threshold. And we're finding that these were going up, whether it's all the personal household budgets we make or whether their businesses are just crushing it. I don't really know, but the idea, we use the term under-resourced because these are people who have like really phenomenal business ideas, right? And we just want the even distribution of some of Houston's finest resources, such as the intellectual capital of the Tier 1 University of Houston, right? And so that's why we try to think about people because sometimes someone will come through and if someone has a bad idea for a business, we're not like, oh, this is a bad idea. We're like, here, let's walk you through the process of how you validate this idea and build the financials around it. And so maybe they'll go, oh, this isn't an idea I want to do, but then they've got the reps and they know how to write that business plan and pitch for funding for the next idea. And I don't know how many entrepreneurs y'all know, but like, people kind of march to the beat of their own drum, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, this is the world, I want to make it this way, I want to go out and do it. I want to incur some debt to do it as well, right? And so we like to just support them by like training the people, giving people like skills and taking them through the reps, showing them how to write a business plan, and also connecting them with bankers. And so last thing, quick plug, if anyone who has good research for entrepreneurs is free for 20 minutes on Saturday and wants to come out and tell our current entrepreneurs real quick between Innovation Summit events, obviously, you don't miss any Innovation Summit events for this. And then come out and talk to our current entrepreneurs, please come get my card before this is over.
Okay, yes, do you have a question?
Charlie, could you share the other demographics actually comes out to support the students?
So there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of moving parts, right? So the students work with the entrepreneurs, and then there's mentors for the students. There's mentors for the entrepreneurs. There's guest lecturers every week. EY sends about 30 people to look over people's financial statements. Although this year they were a little light. Angela can tell you, she's not correct. This year there was about 12 people. I was like, all right, EY. But the last 5 semesters they sent like 30 people out. We also have the law school comes out and sends about 12 or 15 student lawyers to look over stuff for people. We have an immense number of people, and not to mention the number of graduates who come back and support. So we have about 20 to 30 graduates of the program who come back every week to sit in on group work, to help us put out breakfast, to help us put out lunch, and all that. So does that answer your question?
I think you're missing the.
And obviously our advisory board with District Director Tim Jeffco of the SBA is huge. The bankers, so most of my job is.
We'll go on to that.
Yes, okay.
All right, so as far as demographics that we serve, Red Labs, the main program I work with, is mostly for UH students, faculty, and recent alumni. That said, it only requires one person on the team to be a UH student, faculty, or recent alumni. So if there's someone else in the community that's interested in an accelerator program, you do have to have one person on the team, but generally that happens from a student bringing in someone that they know, or a faculty member bringing in someone that they know, because it does have to be at founder level, everybody's student founder level. So sometimes I meet people that want to go through Red Labs, but they want to just like hire a UH intern. That's not really what we're looking for. If you have someone that you're working with and actually at founder level with that person at UH, then we've had a lot of people outside of the university actually go through the University Accelerator program. As far as mentors, we work with a bunch of, our program does have a bunch of mentors from the Houston community. We're very lucky to have a ton of people from the tech community to offer their time and expertise in specific subject matter areas so that we can give that resource to our founders. And so that's like the main program. And I would say, just to echo what some other people have said as well, I think another main objective of what we do is to not only have people go through that accelerator program, which is focused on tech and focused on specifically students from the University of Houston that are working on launching their business idea, but also just to get more students from the University of Houston that are interested in entrepreneurship and interested in innovation, because we're really trying to get like a pipeline of people into the community. You know, this community, I've only been here for 5 years, and I've seen it come really a long way in 5 years. And there's a lot more interest on the campus as well. People interested in entrepreneurship, interested in being a part of the community. So beyond just that start of the program, which is a big part of my job, I think more the demographic that I serve is the larger Houston, or the larger University of Houston community, and trying to get them really excited and engaged in the larger Houston community so that they can eventually be the future generation of our tech community, our entrepreneurship community. Because, as someone else mentioned, it is a little bit intimidating to start a business, a little bit intimidating. And a lot of the students that go to University of Houston go because they want to get a good job afterward. And so the idea that they're going to pass that up to start their own business is difficult for a lot of them to think about. So we really try and frame it as something that you can just get interested in problem solving, interested in innovation, interested in the entrepreneurial mindset, so that they can at least know about the community should they ever go back to it, or should they want to do something in the future, so that they have the resources and community and foundation to do that.
Go ahead.
I have a question. Cecil with City's List, funeral concierge. All right, so technically we graduated from the ship program.
Yes.
The University of Houston, so we thought about that.
Oh, Red Labs? From Red Labs.
Because we are technically students.
We haven't had that question before. I'll look into it.
Data consultant to do with
Yeah, right.
It does have to be a tech-enabled startup too, so something that's scalable with technology.
Okay. Actually, did you have a question?
No, I was
Okay. I do that all the time. That really sort of takes us from time standpoint, so break time now before the next panel comes up. Okay, and please thank you to all the panelists for your time and your insight.